You like grading your Pokemon cards? Well, now prices have been dropping from PSA and Beckett. We're going to talk all about it in today's video. Let's go and take a look. Hey, what's up guys? Welcome and welcome back to the channel. Now today, we're actually talking about grading your Pokemon cards. Now, PSA and Beckett have reduced their prices, their service charges, to get your cards graded. And here's the thing guys, I always say, if you get a good decent card and it's worth a certain amount of money, is to go and get it graded, because it tends to increase the value of the card quite a bit, especially if you get a really high grade, ideally a 9 and especially a 10. But the thing is it's really expensive. PSA made their prices very, very expensive during the pandemic. They had a massive backlog. It was just ridiculous, things like $200 a card. And then Beckett was near enough the same as well. So it was just really, really silly. Here in the UK, we started to see loads of different smaller companies start appearing during the lockdown, and you had loads of different stuff going on. But now prices and stuff like that are dropping. It may be a little bit more appealing to send our cards off overseas, especially from the UK, to PSA, get things graded. Now over here in the UK, I've been using Ace grading, and don't get me wrong, I think they're really good. I love the look of their slabs, brilliant design. But the issue is really the value, okay? Like, you get your cards graded with Ace grading, the value kind of isn't there enough. I kind of feel like they're a little bit too new to, you know, increase that value, as it were, to say like, look, I have an Ace 10 graded card compared to a PSA 10 or a Beckett. Now, the thing is with Beckett is getting a 10 is very difficult. So 9.5 is kind of at that level of a PSA 10. So we're going to be taking a look at the different prices of both services. So both PSA and Beckett, they have dropped. And we're going to also talk about whether or not it's going to be worth grading your cards with them. And we're going to take a look at Brilliant Stars as well. So we're going to take a look at the top 5 most expensive cards in Brilliant Stars and kind of compare the raw price to the grading cost and then the graded value to really see if it's really worth grading at all, or should you just kind of hold off and wait for potentially the costs to drop down even further. Well, go and have a look. Right, first off, we have Beckett. They have a various amount of different costs and different, you know, things you can set off between, you know, premium, express, standard, economy. All depends on how expensive your cards are and how quick you want them. Okay, now with me, I'm not massively fussed about getting my cards back quickly. I'm more than happy to wait, you know, especially if I'm sending off a big batch of cards. I would just more than happy just wait for it, if you know what I mean. You know, you kind of get a good amount of value gained if you don't spend too much money on the card, right? Let's take a look at this anyway. Let's just look at their standard rate, okay? $50 a card. Now, over here in the UK, that's around about £35. It's still quite pricey, in my opinion. I kind of held off at the $50 mark. For me, I kind of felt like that still was just too high for what I really want, you know, get graded, if you know what I mean. You know, you got the premium at $250. I mean, that's just crazy. Now, with Beckett, compared to other services, you can pay a little bit extra for subgrades. Now, subgrades are basically grades that tell you, like, give an individual rating for certain things like centering and corners and stuff like that, right? So you could go for the cheaper option. So you could go with no subgrades at standard for $40. But then we take a look at the economy. Okay, now it does take a lot longer to send off the economy. But $35 a card or $25 with no subgrades. Personally, I'm not massively fussed about subgrades. It does tend to increase the value of the card a little bit more if you do pay for that subgraded level. The $35 for the economy level is actually not that bad. You know, we're probably just looking just over around £20 a card here in the UK, and that's not bad. That is not bad at all. Now we take a look at like Ace grading for here. At the moment, it's about £15 a card for their standard rate. Their bulk rate is £10, and then you obviously got the more expensive ones if you want it a bit faster. Personally, with them, I tend to only go standard or bulk. I don't tend to, like I say, same with these guys, I wouldn't pay anything more. But the thing is, you got to take into consideration, guys, with Beckett is they're a little bit harsher to grade with, and it's a lot harder to get a 10. Also, the value of their cards are not quite as high as PSA. Now, that is because if you get a Beckett 10, then it's going to be worth a lot more than a PSA 10. But it's very difficult. There's normally a 9.5, which a 9.5 normally isn't as much as a PSA 10, which is kind of the same level. You've got to take that into consideration when using the two different companies. Now, I haven't sent any off to either company, but I do own a graded card from both. Personally, I actually prefer the slabs of Beckett than I do PSA. I just like the more, unlike stronger, chunkier looking, well durable slabs compared to the PSA ones. But I do rate Beckett 100%. Right, let's go and take a look at PSA. All right, PSA, guys, it has dropped a fair amount. We're going to take a look at this. So they got a bunch of different prices, as you can see here. So you got the economy level at $50. And during the pandemic, it was around 200. It was like 100, 150, 200. It was crazy, crazy expensive. And over time, they've been dropping it and dropping it and dropping it. Now you got the value level at $30 a card. However, it's not just $30 a card. We'll get to that in just a moment. If we take a look, you got like $50 a card, $100 a card for regular, and it all depends on the value. If you're going to send in a really old vintage card, like a holo Charizard or something like that, then you're going to have to pay a lot more, okay? But if you're sending in a lot of modern stuff, which tend to be what I send in, then economy and value are just a really good way of doing it. Now, similar to Beckett, the prices aren't that much different. If we look at value, $30, Beckett was $35. It's not a huge difference, $5 difference right there. However, like I say, there is a catch with PSA's value graded rate. If we click on it here, it tells you that we have to have a 20 card minimum order. Okay, so you have to send off a batch with them. Then we have 1996 2022. That's fine. But it is exclusive to PSA Collectors Club members. Okay. So it's not, it's not just anybody. You have to be that, and we'll take a look at that in just a moment. And the turnaround time is 120 days. So you're waiting a while. Let's put it that way. You're waiting a while. If we click on economy, it says the turnaround time is around 90 days. I mean, it's probably going to be longer than that. Let's be honest. And then regular 60. So 120 days. What's that? It's like 4 months. Like I say, if you don't mind waiting, like me, I don't mind waiting, then the value rate is a really good way of doing it. Let's go and take a look at the PSA Collectors Club members. All right, as you can see here, it says join the PSA's Collectors Club. Now, you can get full access to the best grading prices at $99 a year. Okay. Now, what do you get in there? You get the members only grading access, and then you get a 1-year magazine subscription. Okay. You're paying $100 a year for the opportunity to grade your cards at $30 a piece. Is it worth it? Well, if you're going to be sending off the minimum of 20 cards compared to the economy rate of $50, then it is 100% worth it. But there's, like I said, there's kind of a catch to it. You do have to have a membership. It's not just $30 a card. You got to take that into consideration, guys. And we have loads of different FAQs here as well. So, it's all that sort of stuff, so you got to look into it. I would suggest doing it personally. I don't think it's, that bad, in all honesty. The $30 a card is pretty decent. I mean, $30 a card, we're looking at maybe £20 a card, maybe just under £20 a card, which I think is really great. If you're willing to, wait 4 months maybe for the cards, then why not do it, So those are the prices for PSA and Beckett. I always say, guys, to get your cards graded, get them graded. If they're well sent in good condition, get them graded. It's looking like it's going to be a little bit more reasonable now to send cards off. However, let's take a look at some cards in Brilliant Stars that we have the raw price and we have the graded price. We're going to compare to how much it's going to cost to how much you can get as a return on the grade that it could get. Let's go and take a look. Okay, first off, right, we're taking a look at PokeJace for all this data. We are looking at the Arceus Gold V-Star first, all right? So as you can see here, guys, let's take a look at the TCG player price, okay? $42, let's say, okay? Then we have a PSA 9 at $68. Then we have a PSA 10 at $174. So let's say we pay the $30 to get it graded. We add on $30. We are paying more with the raw price than we could get as a return of a PSA 9. But then if we do get it back in a PSA 10, then we would make around about $100 profit. That's a pretty good turnaround. So overall, I would send this off. I mean, if you get in a 9, then you're losing a couple of dollars here and there. And I mean, if we scroll further down, we can see that the 9 has kind of been pretty stable. I mean, it's dropped a little bit recently, but it hasn't really done much. Whereas the PSA 10, even though it's dropped over time, overall it's going to be the better, obviously the better grade, the better value. But I think if you can get this graded for $30, even with Beckett at $35, and that's worth it. If you go to $50, however, then you got to try and take into factors, is it worth the risk to try and get this PSA 10 one compared to PSA 9, especially with the cost of the card itself? And if you've pulled the card, put in a booster pack, that's completely different. Okay, if you pull in a booster pack, then I wouldn't mind even spending $50 on getting it graded. So it does really depend on whether or not you pull it, and whether or not, you know, what price and what, you know, service you really want to pay for. Next up, we have the Charizard Full Art V. Beautiful card, absolutely amazing. We take a look at this. Actually, it's been selling more on eBay than it has on TCG Player. So we take the highest price. We'll take a look at the highest price. We've got $42. Okay. So PSA 9, $74. So again, if you're paying that $30, it's not too bad in all honesty. Even at $35 with Beckett, that's not a bad deal. And the PSA 10, it really is worth it. $163. I mean, even if you paid the $50, you know, to get it back $163, that's incredible. It just is incredible. But this is a great card to get graded. It has been dropping over time, as you can see, guys. But even so, I still think this is a great card to get graded, because the return is so good. And it's Charizard. You got to take that in mind. Charizard is going to be a great card in the long haul, especially a graded one, and especially in that PSA 10. It's going to go up over time once Brilliant Stars is no longer in print. So I would probably get this card graded, especially if you pull one as well. Right, next up we have the Arceus VOR. Now I actually own this card, and I am going to send this off to PSA. We take a look at this. Let's say it's $46. We'll take the highest one. The PSA 9, $75. Okay, if we pay the $30 or $35, we're kind of not going to get our money back. In the PSA 10, look, it's lower than the others, $150. You've got to take that into consideration. It's not quite as good. I am going to send mine off, like I say, because I do want to get it graded. I kind of feel like it could be a 10. I mean, if it does get a 10, you know, I'm going to pay the $30 rate, so I'm not going to exactly pay a huge amount of money for it. So I think it's good. I think it's worth it. $150, and I mean, even if it comes back as a 9, $75, I mean, that's a pretty good deal in all honesty, you know, because I've pulled it. If you bought it, you know, is it worth the risk? I mean, it kind of is. You're breaking even. It's not too bad, but I wouldn't pay the $50 mark if you bought this. If you pulled it, it might be okay, but yeah, you might as well just go for the value rate, really. I'm moving on to the big hitter. Right, so we got the Charizard Rainbow V-Star. Big card, big card. So let's take this, $123 on eBay. PSA 9 is $180. Okay, but even if you paid the $50 rate, you're still going to be fine at a 9. If you get a 10, however, $361. That's insane. You know, let's say you paid the 50, add the 120, you know, you get it back as a 10. You're looking at a huge gain, like a $190 gain. That's insane. We scroll further down, we can see that, I mean, we just ignored this gigantic drop. But we look at this, and I mean, it has been dropping over time. And again, Charizard, guys, Charizard, it is going to hold. It is going to be good. Long haul, we've got to think about the long haul, right? So there's one thing to take into consideration when you get your cards graded. If the prices are going to start being dropped, you get them graded, there's going to be more of them out there. There's going to be a higher population of these cards. You've got to take that in mind. You've got to keep that in mind. So, you know, people are going to send their cards to get graded more, which means that the card values might drop. But in the long haul, it's definitely worth it. And then finally, we have the big Charizard, the Alt Art Charizard V. Pulled this in a stream. It was absolutely incredible. And the guy we pulled it for, he got it graded with Ace and came back as a 10. So it was a very good quality card. Now with PSA, this is quite pricey. So we take a look at this card, right? So let's say $176. It's actually dropped in price, actually. Look, $176. In a 9, it comes back as $255. That's crazy. That's actually crazy. Worth it. Even if you paid the $50 rate, that's worth it. But the chance to get in a 10, $478. I mean, even if you paid $100, you know, some form of like express version, you're still going to get an insane return on this. So, I mean, yeah, this is an amazing card to get graded. Highly suggested. This is the best card in the set, and the best card in the set to get graded straight up. I mean, this is absolutely insane. I mean, overall, the raw price of this card has actually dropped, because it was around $200, as you can see here, for the longest time. And only recently has it started to drop. It's because of like restocks and reprints, but that's fine. It'll go back up over time anyway. But here's the best card in Brilliant Stars to get graded. There you have it, guys. Those are the rates of PSA and Beckett, and we had a look at some cards from Brilliant Stars. And let me know down in the comments, guys, are you going to be now looking to grade your cards with PSA or Beckett, or have you been going with a different grading company? Let me know down in the comments. I've been doing ace grading here in the UK just because of the convenience, and the cost has been really good, and I kind of like the look of their slabs. Love the ace graded, ace labeled slabs. They look really neat. But I am going to send some cards off to PSA. I do have a big stack of cards that I do want to send. It's just waiting for the prices to drop. But now they have dropped, I probably will pick up a membership and I will send off some cards and wait for them to be returned. Super excited, and it's going to be really great. Anyway, guys, if you've made this far into the video and you've enjoyed it, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe for more Pokemon content just like this one. And that is it from me, guys, in this video. As always, thank you all so much for watching. You guys are legends, and I'll see you in the next one.